Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Thonga, and today I am bringing you another Dawn of War 2 Retribution online commentary. And this game was sent to me by one of my viewers and subscribers, Infinity, so thank you for sending me this replay. It's always fun to cast videos of you guys and to get a little more variety rather than just me playing Space Marines and Imperial Guard all the time. Anyway, before I start, I just want to say this is probably going to be my last video for a while. I may be able to put out one more, but I'm really busy right now with my work, so yeah. Anyway, today's game is on the Siccaris Plateau. It is a big 3v3 game. Let's have a look at the map over here. We have down the center of the map we have a whole lot of contested requisition points. Down south we have a contested victory point and tons of contested resource points and power nodes and whatnot have you in between. Up north we have the natural victory point belonging to each team and a whole cluster of resource nodes in the middle. Each team has two natural power nodes semi near it. This is a very wide open map, so I'm gonna expect lots of shooty and quite maneuverable armies because of the lack of tight corners. It's gonna be difficult for melee units to fully utilize their melee powers before getting gunned down. Anyway, let's look at the blue team over here. We have Ocean Esgro 94 bracket ESP playing as the blue Ultramarines, sporting the Ultramarines DLC, very fine looking, very pretty. And we have the person who sent me this replay, Infinities, playing as the blue Ork Warboss. And we have Matioza, I'm just gonna call him Matt, playing as the black Space Marines, playing as the Force Commander. So on the blue team we have pure offensive tanky heroes, Force Commander, Warboss, Force Commander. So they're gonna be very tanky and heavy hitting heroes, not much in the way of finesse, but hey, whatever works. Anyway, on the red team we have KZ Hun, I'm gonna call him Hun, red Chaos player playing as the Chaos Warlord. And we have jocelyn.fond playing as the black Chaos Warlord as well. And we have Luke Hudson 999 playing as the Ravenor Alpha, so he's gonna be burrowing and forming tunnels all over the place, being very sneaky and annoying as Tyranid players generally are. Anyway, let's get things started right here. Alrighty, so right off the bat on initial build orders we have Luke Hudson cranking out some Hormagaunt boots. Quite surprising he's going for Hormagaunts, but I guess because he knows that Space Marines on the field. Space Marines aren't fantastic at dealing with melee in tier 1, as apart from Assault Terminators and the Force Commander, Space Marines actually have no dedicated melee units. Assault Marines are more disruption and used for tying up ranged blobs and whatnot, so that could work in end. If there's one-on-one a tactical marine squad could probably tank a Hormagaunt squad, but two Hormagaunt squads would be a different matter, and Hormagaunts would be useful for chasing down Space Marines and flipping all those model losses, and he has put out Hormagaunt boot anyway. Anyway, I'm missing out other players. We have Chaos Space Marines over here by jocelyn.fond, and we have Triple Chaos Heretics put out by Hun over here. Meanwhile, Matt has put out Tactical Space Marines, Infinity has put out Slugger Boy and Shooter, and Ocean is going up north with his Scouts, Space Marines and his Force Commander. Meanwhile, down south we have the first initial contact between Matt and Hun over here, the Force Commander and the Chaos Lord duking it out, and the Scouts bunkering down in this building. They're gonna start opening fire on these cultists over here. The cultists stand around, they may take a model loss or two. The Force Commander is not gonna come on top of this little engagement over here. Meanwhile, we do have Infinity pushing forward in the middle, and we do have Ocean about to make contact with a Tyranid player over here. Infinity is going to start decapping these points over here, and we do have Warship sending these Chaos Marines in the battle a little bit faster, but Infinity has numbers on his side over here, and alone these Chaos Marines, unless they can get support from the Tyranid allies, may not be able to hold out against this giant Ork horde on their own. Meanwhile, we do have Ocean being forcing back the Ravenor Alpha, which is very squishy, but his Tactical Marines are getting tied up with the double Hormagaunts. Like I said, the Tactical Marines unable to sort of fight their way through this blob. They need to get out. Oh no, two model losses, and oh my goodness, that was a quick squad wipe for the Space Marines. The Tyranid is barely taking any losses, and you always want to wipe out those tactical squads straight away, but Ocean is not deterred. He's getting a second tactical squad right off the bat. Meanwhile, Infinity is forcing back jocelyn.fond over here, and Matt did have his Force Commander forced back, but His tactical marines and scouts are bunkering down in this building over here. Matt has put out a devastated squad. Hun lost counter squad somewhere, and now his space marines are trading 5 to Chaos Lord. There are 2 counter squads over here. They really could be moving forward to wipe out Hun over here. I'm not sure what Hun is doing, seeing as he only has 3 units on the field. There's really not much in the way of micro. Anyways, Chaos Lord also jumping into the fray over here, using kill the weak but missing that kill the weak strike. And all the space marines are going to duck back in the building. Chaos Lord turns around, but he sees a fistful of both the shots in the back, and he is really low on hit points. A few more shots of it, and down goes the Chaos Lord. But the grenade heretics are now returning fire, and Matt does take a model loss over here, so these marines are going to be forced back, and these scouts have to be very careful with those grenadiers around. Infinity is ping the red team's natural victory point up here, but we did have Tyranid bursting out of a Ravenor tunnel over here, and these slugger boys are very low, have to get out of there. We do have sluggers pulling up some nice specials, but these slugger boys are horribly isolated. They're starting to take some range damage from this Ravenor Alpha and Termagon squad. And frame was dropping slightly. Sorry about that. Sorry, my frame was got finicky. Anyway, Infinity did lose his entire slugger boy squad over there. Just got overwhelmed by this melee blob over here. And Ocean tried to support, but he's a bit too far back. He's pushing forward. His scouts have been armed with shotguns to deal with all the Tyranid melee on the field, so that's going to be very useful if the scouts can stay on the field. But they are getting shredded by all this Tyranid ranged firepower over here, so being forced back. What is up with my frame rates? 1 second. Okay, anyway, Ocean did manage to force back the Tyranid ranged blob over there. And Infinity has his Warboss running around over here. Jocelyn.fond has set up a Chaos Havoc squad, but the Infinity has gotten a nice flank on this Chaos Warlord. Those Chaos Heretics really need to be rushing in to support the Havoc squad. Infinity is giving chase to this Chaos Havoc squad, laying in with his Bang Bang Hammer. Yes, I forgot to add that he has fully upgraded his Warboss with the Bang Bang Hammer, Spiky Armor, and Boss Pole, but I'm not sure the Spiky Armor was a choice, was a good idea, because all these Chaos ranged units are on the field. But we'll see how that works out. It may be useful against a Tyranid melee blob over here. Hun has taken lots of losses to his Heretic army, and Matt has gone for a 1-1-1-1 build over here. Scouts, Tactical Marines, Devastators, and an Assault Squad pushing forward. Hun has pulled out some Noise Marines over here. And my frame rates are really skipping. Meanwhile, Infinity is laying in with his Bang Bang Hammer and stomping all these Chaos Space Marines about. We do have the Havoc squad opening fire on these Slugger boys over here at point blank range, and the Slugger boys are getting gibbed all over the place. This Havoc squad needs to be these Chaos Space Marines need to get out of there before they get absolutely wiped. But unfortunately for him, the Infinity's Warboss pulls up a special. Now Infinity is I think he's trying to switch to the range attack for his Slugger boys, but they keep rushing in melee, and that's not really what they need right now. And with the Havoc squad is opening fire on the Assault Marines, and this gives Infinity the chance to use his burners at long last. And now these Havocs are in a world of trouble, taking lots of damage, and oh my, the entire Havoc squad gets absolutely wiped, and Infinity is going to cut his losses and pull out of there right away. So great play by Infinity right there. Meanwhile, we do have some Heretics trying to push forward over here, but they don't stand a chance of pushing past this Devastator squad in the building, which just has his entire area locked down. So the red team really on the back foot. The majority of the map is blue, and they don't have one of their natural power nodes. They only have one natural power node up. And let's just have a look at the resources over here. The blue team has almost double, just a little under 2 times the red team's power income, and they have tons more requisition income. So if the red team can't pull off anything game changing, they don't stand a chance right now. But we do have grenades starting to bombard these Devastator Marines, and the Devastators are starting to take some losses. Matt's gonna have to push forward if he doesn't want his Devastators getting mauled. The Assault Marines jump in a bit isolated, getting hit by all this ranged firepower, but Noise Marines don't have fantastic DPS against heavily armored units. And the Tactical Marines are jumping in, using Worship at the wrong time. These Heretics are taking lots of damage, down to a single model, 45 hit points. 21 hit points, a single swipe from the... Oh yes, the Force Commander does bring down that Heretic squad, so... And those Assault Space Marines barely made it out there with 87 hit points between all remaining members, but they didn't take a single loss. Unfortunately, the Tactical squad did lose a member over here. But now we have the entire Chaos Army being pinned by Devastator squad over here, but the Noise Marines have the armor to sort of tank it out, and if they can get in within range, they will be able to return fire even for a bit, and that will completely lock down. Like I said, there we go. We have the Noise Marines completely clamping down on that Devastator squad. The Devastator squad cannot return fire. The Noise Marines do flame damage, so they were very effective against units inside buildings. But the Force Commander did manage to tie up those Noise Marines. We know up north, we do have Infinity pushing forward against this huge Tyranid blob over here. He is outnumbered, but he is hitting tier 2. So the blue team's having a bit of a tech advantage over here. These Slugger Boys are taking lots of damage, horribly isolated. Gonna have to oh my goodness, down goes an entire Slugger Boy squad, but the Warboss with his bang bang armor will be able to unleash some good hurt, and he does get a good stomp off on his Warboss over here. I apologize, my frame rates are really skipping, I don't know why. I think my laptop's over here. Anyway, yes, now we do have that spiky armor being put to good use. You can see the Tyranids absolutely just shredding themselves in the spiky armor, and the Warboss is absolutely tanking the whole Tyranid army, causing lots of damage, and his hammer is just absolutely mauling it. You can see him tossing aside a single warrior boot over here, and he forces back the entire Tyranid army. So that was a great use of spiky armor. I take back what I said earlier about the spiky armor not being useful. The spiky armor actually mauled the entire Tyranid force over there. Meanwhile, we do have Hun pushing forward over here to having pushed back Matio, but Matio hasn't taken a single squad loss yet, so that's exactly what he needed. Anyway, the blue team is hitting tier 2 with Ocean hitting tier 2 first. He has gone for double tactical marines, and one has a flamer, one has a missile launcher. Interesting, seeing as no vehicles have been fielded yet. And his Force Commander has gone for the Chainsword and Shield, so that's interesting. I guess a deal of all that Tyranid range fire. You know, we do have these Noise Marines. Oh, excellent grenade being put, wiping out an entire Noise Marine squad. So Hun jocelyn.fond probably wasn't watching that part of the map. Trying to move forward with his force of Chaos Tactical Marines and Chaos Havocs over here. And sort of a little merry-go-round, and they sort of just wander to each other with point blank range. We do have Defend being pulled off, so these guys will be taking less range damage. But they are still taking full melee damage. The Chaos Lord is pretty much just tanking around, but those Chaos Marines are being forced back. And this Chaos Lord did take out one scout. But we do have the full might of Matt's army arriving here, and this Chaos Lord won't be able to tank 2 Space Marine armies. And the Havocs are in the building, sort of suppressing these guys, but we do have Defend being pulled off, but the Force Commander is out of energy, unfortunately, but that will be able to break suppression. And we do have Luke Hudson coming down south with the full might of his Tyranid mob over here. He has 2 warrior boots, Termagon squad, and double Hormagon boots. So this is quite a force to be reckoned with over here. And we do have Matt setting up Devastator squad over here. Big advantage. Assault Marines jumping in, knocking back a lot of these guys, but they are double Assault Space Marines jumping in and forcing back the entire Tyranid range blob over here. Double Assault Space Marines supported by Devastators, very formidable. And we do have Matt hitting tier 2 at long last, having invested very heavily in the tier 1, but his huge tier 1 army is sort of keeping the enemy at bay at the moment. Meanwhile, Infinity, having taken some initial squad losses early on, has cranked out 2 Tank Buster squads. Interesting choice of the Tank Busters. Sticky Bombers I can see because of the ranged blobs wandering around, but he has put out Killer Can, which is what I wanted to see. And with no AV apart from this squad of Plague Marines on the field, which is on the opposite side of the map, there's really nothing that can stop this Killer Can right now. So, meanwhile, blue team still having the majority of the requisition points on the map, having very high resource incomes overall, but the armies are quite big, especially Matt, who has suffering a lot of income tax from his gigantic army over here. Meanwhile, I do have a single squad of Plague Marines over here, but they're looking mighty lonely. Just 4 of them against two entire Space Marine armies. Well, with 2 Space Marine players bunkering down south, Infinity is gonna be a little bit outnumbered over here, seeing as we do have the Chaos player and the Tyranid player. And anyway, we do have the DOW2RET charging in the fray. DOW2RET charging armed with flamers, and these shooter boys are in a bit of trouble getting tied up by these warriors. Is sort of ignoring the DOW2RET. DOW2RET just sort of stomping around, running around. These shooter boys have to be very careful, down to 35 hit points. Barely get out of there with 10 hit points, and we do have the The DevJet charging in, slashing away with his hacksaws and killing everything. These sticky bombers tying up the Ravenor Alpha in melee combat, but sticky bombers are quite fragile and gonna have to be very careful. Meanwhile, we do have the DevJet absolutely ripping apart that warrior brood over there. I think Luke Hudson lost a full warrior brood squad, and he's taken tons of model losses. And the Warboss with his bang bang hammer is gonna really lay down the hurt on that Ravenor Alpha. Ravenor Alpha with his crippling talons will be able to do some pretty sweet melee damage. We do have the Chaos Warlord charging in, but he is still vanilla. There's no upgrades on him, and he's not going to be able to stand up to this fully upgraded Chaos Ork Warboss over here in this Killer Can. So he's going to be in a world of trouble over here. Going to be very careful. We do have a zone troop coming up for the Tyranid, which is going to provide some much needed artillery support. I'm not sure if that's what he needs. Maybe a Tyrant Guard or something of that sort. I'm not sure. Something to give him more staying presence on the field. Oh well, we'll have to see how that works out for him. Meanwhile, we do have Hun, who has pulled out 4 squads of Plague Marines. That is quite a substantial force. He is pulling out a 4th squad, but he has 3 Plague Marine squads and 1 Blastmaster squad. So that's going to be quite a formidable range force. Plague Marines very hard to kill. Not sure if that's what he needs right now, seeing as there's no vehicles above the Killer Can, which is on the opposite side of the map right now. Meanwhile, we do have Ocean heading up north, but the red team making a strong push down the center of the map over here. But from the looks of things, the blue team is going to have a triple cap at this point in time. Meanwhile, we do have these Devastators suppressing the entire Plague Marine force over here, and the Assault Marines jumping in, stomping on all these Plague Marines and tying them up in close quarters. But we do have the Blastmaster opening fire, hitting some of his Plague Marine allies as well. And these Assault Space Marines are starting to take a lot of damage. I think one of the Assault Space Marine squads is very low on hit points. I'm not sure if they're going to get out of there. Now Luke Hudson is arriving on the scene. We do have an Assault Space Marine squad going down. Now all these Tacticals and Devastators are completely surrounded. Luke Hudson and the entire red team swarming down on Matioza over here. And his entire army is getting absolutely butchered. The Devastator squad goes down in the building, getting absolutely shredded, taking terrible damage from all sides over here. And yeah, Matt just took horrible losses from just being triple teamed up here.
Generator operational.
And where are his allies? Infinity realizes the threat of the triple blobbed army over here, and he is heading down south with support from Ocean's Tactical Marines. Ocean pulling out a Dreadnought, Infinity hitting tier 3, and Matt pulling out Predator having already hit tier 3. Now these Chaos, the DevJ is charging in, forcing back these heretics. We do have all this melee coming in to face the DevJ. We do have sticky bombers going off, but the sticky bombers overshooting their target. Blastmaster hitting the Killer Can, snaring it, causing tons of damage. But we do have rocket barrage knocking back the Blastmaster Noise Marines over here. Actually, the Blastmaster is still firing away, and the Chaos Warboss armed with his spiky armor causing tons of damage. Lots of orcs being killed all over the place, but we do have terrible damage being done to the Tyranid army. But I think Infinity is going to have to be forced back over here. Yeah, he's retreating right there. He's going to cut his losses, having done what he could, but he did manage to force back a large chunk of the red army to retreat as well. Ocean really should have been moving down south with him to support him with his tactical marines. And this Ravenor Alpha, not sure if he sees this. Yeah, the Ravenor Alpha does make a quick retreat. These tactical marines just sort of guarding Ocean, not really having good situational awareness over here. Really needs to be sending more units down south. This scout squad could be doing something. All those tactical marines helping out Infinity's army, providing the staying power and the DPS really would have made a difference in that battle, but Infinity was just horribly outnumbered. And now he's put a squad of Slugger Boys, interesting, and he's pulling out a squad of Knobs, so that's really going to be quite a game changer in the field. Anyway, Matt is coming down south with what's left of his army. He has put out a Predator, but that Predator has to be careful with all those Plague Marines running around over here. And the Ocean did have to retreat his scouts over here, and we do have the Predator Las Cannon jump coming out and doing tons of damage, getting hit by a zone troop but not taking too much damage over here. And now these Assault Marines are jumping in on the zone troop over here, tying out all these setup teams and forcing everyone back. His Chaos Lord is coming out. He has Armor of the Inferno, which gives him the dreaded Let the Galaxy Burn. I think Infinity is telling his teammates that they were late for the party right there. Like I was saying earlier, Infinity sort of took on all 3 armies on his own after he tried to come to Matt's rescue over there. Meanwhile, the blue team still has pretty solid control of the northern side of the map, having set up lots of power nodes everywhere and having very high income at the moment. Meanwhile, down south we do have the giant Plague Marine blob over here. This Predator has to be very careful. We do have sticky bombers hurling into the crowd, clipping the edge of the Plague Marine horde over here. And we do have this Plague Marine horde is sort of surrounded, taking damage from all sides, but Plague Marines are ridiculously hard to kill, and I'm not sure what ability that was, but these Plague Marines are just being extremely resilient and refusing to go down. Actually doing quite a lot of damage to this Force Commander even in melee, so yeah. And we do have, I think this Force Commander is being upgraded with Terminator armor. And down goes that Predator, down goes the Predator. Combined might of all those Plague Marines just brought him down. Infinity is jumping in with all this melee, so we have tons of melee jumping in on these Plague Marines. Over here we do have Assault Terminators being called in, and we do have everything being smashing all these Plague Marines apart. So these Plague Marines doing taking terrible damage. But each time one of them dies, they explode, damaging their foes and healing their allies. So these Plague Marines are actually staying in the fray for quite a long time. Not a single squad has gone down yet, and for some reason Infinity pulled back Tank Busters right there, but the Chaos Warlord is right on top of them. This Plague Marine squad looks like it is going to go down, but one of their members does pop, healing the rest. Second member goes down, healing the rest as well. And all these Plague Marines are being very hard to kill. When they explode, I think they knock back everyone else around them as well. You know, the Ork Warboss has been upgraded with a Power Claw. It's doing terrible damage on all these Plague Marines. And we do have Chaos Space Marines armed with nothing. Just regular bolters. We do have a Havoc squad being set up, but unfortunately it's facing the wrong way. It's opening fire on the Terminators, but the Terminators with their Thunder Hammers are really smashing everything apart over here. The Killer Cans jumping the fray, smashing apart one of those Plague Marines and killing the last member of the squad. But it's all the Plague Marines, with no melee focusing on them, they are free to return fire with their missile launchers, and they absolutely wrecked that Killer Can. And now these Assault Terminators a bit isolated. You're gonna have to be very careful as they are a bit out of position over here. So surprisingly, all those Plague Marines, despite being surrounded and taking terrible damage from all sides, managed to pull through and win the day. Very surprising. And the Chaos Warlords retreating, all these Plague Marines retreating right here. These Chaos Havocs have a retreat path right through these Terminators. Not sure the Terminators see this. Are the Terminators going to get us some hits? No, the Terminators just walk right past them. Meanwhile, we do have a little duel over here going on between some Shotgun Scouts and a Plasma Devastator squad. I guess these Chaos Spaces, these Devastators are a bit out of position over here, and this Blastmaster has completely locked down the southern victory point over here. Surprisingly, the red team is sort of coming back, pushing back hard, gaining the northern part of the map. So the majority of the map is actually falling into the red team control over here, and jocelyn.fond pulling out a Chaos Dreadnought while he's healing up a base over here. The blue team is heading out after recuperating from their losses. Infinity doing well to keep his army alive so far, apart from taking some initial squad losses early on. Matt really has not much apart from his Terminators, but backed up with this Ork Horde, these Terminators would be quite a force, being able to teleport behind enemy lines and do terrible damage to any setup teams, which we have 3 of. You know, we do have this Plasma Devastator squad knocking out this Power Node over here, but they really need to be doing something else apart from that. You know, we have a huge Ork blob in the middle over here, and the red team actually has a triple cap at the moment, so the blue team needs to move quickly, otherwise those victory points will disappear surprisingly quickly. But red team's in a dangerous position right now, only with 36 victory points. We do have Infinity stomping forward with his whole army over here. His melee units getting suppressed and getting hit by his own troop, but we do have a rocket barrage coming in to hit these Barb Strangler warriors over here and doing some considerable damage to these Thermogun brood, but not doing much to the warrior brood. But these knobs are very tough, popping frenzy and just jumping in. And we do have those Terminators striking. We do have special attack knocking back the zone throw, and down goes the zone throw, knocked out by those assault Terminators. So that's going to be quite a crippling loss to Luke Hudson, and Luke Hudson is taking lots of damage, losing a warrior brood to those knobs in melee combat, and that Thermogun squad is getting absolutely massacred by all these dedicated heavy melee units. Meanwhile, what else is happening? We do have a Terminator Force Commander around here wandering about, but he is stumbling across his entire melee blob over here. Now these 2 Force Commanders won't be able to do much and getting knocked back by this Blastmaster. Very well positioned over here, a bit out of sight but not out of mind, as it's constantly causing knockback on squads 1 cap, so you can't ninja cap with that artillery team set up over there. You know, Infinity is making a strong push up the center. They have 2 victory points again. They have the northern points, but it looks like Luke Hudson is sneaking more units out of this little Ravenor tunnel over here. You know, major engagement going on. Luke Hudson doing some terrible damage with his power claw over there, knocking back all these chaos units with his rocket barrages, knocking back these weapons teams, allowing his Nob squad to get set up. We do have an autocannon team. An autocannon team is not what you need against Nobs, as they won't suppress the Nobs anymore. They will do considerable damage, but that Havoc squad is tighter in melee with all those Nobs and that Ork Warboss. The Blastmaster knocking them back, but the Ork Warboss only needs a couple of hits on this Noise Marine again. Boom! One more hit and down goes the Noise Marine. So jocelyn.fond taking some terrible losses from all these Orks of his, Nobs being forced back, and we do have the Chaos Havocs getting a good flanking shot off on the Warboss, so the Warboss has no choice but to get out there. You know, we do have this blob of Plague Marines pushing it into the center again. Infinity pulling an Ork Battle Wagon, this goofy looking truck of death that kills absolutely everything. Is such a strange super unit. You know, we do have these devastated Marines getting tighter in melee. Not sure if they're going to get out there. 40 hit points. Down go those devastated Marines, but the Force Commander and a few more Tactical Marines are jumping in there. And these Tactical Marines forcing back these Termagon squads. And the Force Commander and Terminator out with his Lightning Claws is going to do some considerable damage, pulling off a special attack and knocking back all these Tyranids over here. And he has his other Terminator companions joining him as well. We do have a Chaos Autocannon and the Mark of Horn Dreadnought, but against all this heavy melee over here, or power melee, they're gonna have to be quite careful. Now that we do have all these Terminators jumping in on this Dreadnought, but Dreadnought pulling off a special attack and pushing all these guys, but the Ork Battle Wagon is on the field. The Terminators are being forced back by the Dreadnought over here, and we do have the Ork Battle Wagon firing his main cannon over here. And boom! Knocking back all these Plague Marines, but Plague Marines are extremely tough and hard to kill. And we do have all these Ork missile barrages pulling off, bombarding all these Chaos Marines, but the Noise Marines are refusing to die. So being very hard to kill, and they are doing some considerable damage. And we do have a Swarmlord jumping in and hitting this Ork Battle Wagon. So this Ork Battle Wagon is in a world of trouble. The Swarmlord taking some considerable damage from all these Ork tank busters over here. But this Ork Battle Wagon is very low. Oh, last missile by the Plague Marines takes out the Ork Battle Wagon. So down goes the Ork Battle Wagon. Terrible loss for Infinity right there. But all this while, the red team has managed to sneak in some caps, and it looks like they're going to get a triple cap. These Tactical Marine squad may be able to cap this point. And you know, we do have this Swarmlord pushing forward with the Plague Marines backing it from behind, but they are probably overextending a bit too far in the blue territory over here, especially with this Predator jumping in. But the Swarmlord is undeterred. It's just gonna give chase right into Infinity's army over here, right where those Nobs and Tank Busters are waiting, and the Warboss as well. And the Warboss has his Power Claw. But oh, we do have an Abyss being pulled off, snaring all these Orks over here, causing terrible damage. But doing tons of damage to the Swarmlord as well, and down goes the Swarmlord, but probably taking tons of damage as well. And Infinity is surprisingly not taking any squad losses, just reinforcing away. He had the resources to do so, so it looks like he would have come out of that none the worse for wear. You know, the Chaos Lord jumping in as well, taking out a Predator tank, but he is surrounded by Terminators and down he goes as well. But terrible loss for both sides over there, losing the Swarm Lord and the Chaos Lord, but also taking out Predator as well. And now these Plague Marines have to retreat, but they have a long way to go. So Hun's gonna be out to fight for a while, apart from this Noise Marine squad, which has just been patiently guarding the south for the longest time. You know, we have this Tactical Marine squad caught out of position, gonna have to get out there before they get absolutely shredded by all these Tyranids over here. And we have a Force Commander behind enemy lines, and this Devastator squad taking lots of damage. Gonna have to be very careful getting fired on by Tzeentch Marines, taking lots of plasma damage from all those Tzeentch Marines, taking 2 model losses. And those devastated Marines are not cheap. But now the red team has a triple cap, so the blue team's actually in a very dangerous position right now. And we do have a Tyranid forming. Oh my goodness! Absolute squad wipe on those Slugger Boys. Down go those Slugger Boys. Warboss getting knocked around, and Tyranid form causing terrible damage to Infinity's army right there. We do have the Force Commander doing some backcapping behind enemy lines, but I think he would be more useful with some upgrades on him. Ocean does have the resources to spare for an upgrade. He's pulling another Dreadnought. I would like to see a Thunder Hammer or maybe a Power Fist on him. A Thunder Hammer would probably be good for dealing with all these ranged blobs. Wait for disruption. The Scout Squad has to be careful getting hit by Tzeentch Marines. I think blue team is desperately trying to cap some of these points over here. The Force Commander finally forcing back these noise marines, but these tactical marines are gonna take terrible damage from these Zinch marines, and this scout squad very low on hit points. All it needs is a couple of shots and down. Scout squad is gonna go down. The Force Commander is a bit too far away, and down goes that Scout squad. Like I said, oh, we do have a sweet melee being pulled off by the Force Commander, his Terminate armor, and he's gonna cause some terrible damage to all these Space Marines over here. And now he has free reign of this point, so he'll be able to cap that right there. You know, we do have this Force Commander being forced back over here, but Infinity is pushing forward north. Now we have a game on our hands over here with the blue team barely ahead, but the blue team's in a very dangerous position. If they lose a victory, this Luke Hudson really needs to be capping this point over here. They cannot afford to lose any more victory points. Once you get the 8 victory points, all the other team needs to do is to capture one of your victory points, get a lead for just 1 second, and that's it. It's game over, man. Game over. And this Venom Brood needs to be very careful and gets absolutely smashed to bits by this Knob squad over here. And now Infinity has a clear shot at this victory point over here. If they can force back this Ravenor Alpha, which they will. This Ravenor Alpha has to be very careful taking on this Orc Knob over here, and down goes the Tyranid. Oh, we do have a Tyrannoform being pulled off. Luke Hudson needs to get out there. He's popping Frenzy over there, but the Tyrannoform causing some terrible damage to all his guys over here. But the Frenzy is protecting these Orcs, and the Knobs are very hard to kill on their own. Having few models, they won't. Looks like they survived that Tyrannoform not taking too much damage, and they will be able to cap this point. But we do have a Chaos Abyss being pulled off over here, but the stop cap of the 7th point, and that was a great move because the red team only has 6 victory points and they cannot afford to lose any more victory points at this moment. Meanwhile, the Terminators on this side are being forced back by this huge ranged blob of Plague Marines over here, and now the Plague Marines looks like they have a clear shot to cap this point over here. The Knobs are ferociously guarding this point over here, but they're a bit out of position and have no support. And once the red team captures this point, that's pretty much it. The blue team, those Terminators are a bit too far away to cap, and the Terminators don't have the speed. We do have a Dreadnought coming in, but I think it's going to be a little too late. The red team does get you guys. Oh, we do have Orc Rocks being called in, smashing all these Plague Marines. The Plague Marines are getting absolutely massacred. The Plague Marines is, oh my goodness, taking terrible damage from those rocks. But I think that's it. That's the game. The blue team couldn't capture the points in time. Those Knobs were trying their damnedest to capture this point. There were, yes, Infinity had pulled out another Knob squad as well, but this Lictor was just running disruptions. In the end, Luke Hudson had pretty much lost his whole army. I was just using his Lictors to run disruption and back cap all the enemy points, and that huge Plague Marine blob and all those globals just absolutely forcing back everything. So anyway, that was a great game, very exciting game. Kudos to Infinity for sending a replay of a game where they lost. I know it was a very close game. I would have put money on the blue team, especially seeing how the early game went. And that was a great game, and I hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, stay tuned. See you guys next time. I'm out.